Hello all. In this video, we'll be discussing about Leetcode problem number 134, that is gas station. So here you are given two integer arrays, gas and cost, and you have to return the starting gas station's index if you can travel around the circuit once in the clockwise direction. Otherwise, you have to return -1. Okay. So for example, in this case, the returning index is 3. That is, if you can start from this station, then you will be able to complete the complete journey and you will be able to return to the starting point itself. However, in the second case, since it was not possible to return back to the starting point for any of the index, so that's why the output was -1. So now let's dive deeper into the logic of this question. So here, this is an example and the answer for this is fourth index, that is this one. Now let's see how we can derive this. So the main role that is played in this question is by the total gain or the total amount of fuel that we have. Okay, so how we can calculate the total gain of fuel? For each station, what I'll be doing is I'll be subtracting gas minus cost. For I is equal to 0, 1 minus 3 is -2. For next one, 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 minus 4 is -2 for this case. For this, it is 3 minus 5, that is -2 again. 5 minus 2 gives me 3. So basically, what you are targeting here is to calculate the net gain of fuel that you will be having for each station. Okay. For ith station, there will be shortage, for example, in this, and here there will be a gain of gas. Okay. So for calculating that whether I'll be able to complete the journey or not, what I have to do is I have to calculate the sum of all these values. So if you will calculate the sum, then you will be obtaining a value of 0. So if my total gain is greater than equal to 0, this means you will be able to complete the journey. Otherwise, this total, if it is less than 0, then you will not be able to complete the journey and you have to return -1 in this case. So in the first step, I hope it's clear that you have calculated the net gain at each station and you have added that, and finally you have determined whether you will be able to complete your journey with that amount of fuel or not. Now we'll be proceeding towards the second step, that since we will be able to complete the journey in this case, so what will be our starting point? So as of now, you can see there are only two stations which are having a positive value or where you will have some fuel to travel to the next stations. Okay. So the first starting point is this and the second option can be this. So now let's go and see the possible options one by one. So if I start from this station, so I'll be having a net gain of 3. I'll be traveling to the next station. There I'll be having a value of -2 as net gain. So still I'll be having one amount of fuel left with me. Again I'll be traveling to the next station and there I'll encounter a shortage of gas. That is, there will be a negative value which will not make it feasible to travel to the next station. So this doesn't seem to be a good option to start. So now I'll be going to the next, this one. So if I start from here, I'll be having a value of 3. Then I'll be jumping to the next station. Here I'll be having a net amount of 1 now. I'll be traveling to the next station. I'll be having a value of 3, which will update it to 4. Then into the next station, I'll be having -2. So still I'll be left with 2 and then -2. Then I'll be having a value of 0, which will result to return back to the starting point. So this will be an option and its index is 4, so that's why this is returned. So I hope it is pretty clear that in first step we have calculated the net gain and just calculated whether we will be able to complete the journey or not. And in the second we have seen the starting point, what can be the feasible starting point to go ahead. Now let's see it in the form of an algorithm, how we will manage it. So now what we'll do is we'll keep three variables. One is total gain. The second variable will be current gain and the third will be my answer. I'll initialize all of these to 0. Now let's see their significance. Total gain will calculate the total cost of the journey. Current gain will help me to find out the starting point. If a value of 0 is there or value greater than 0 is there, then I'll not be updating the index, that is answer. Otherwise, if a value of negative is encountered, then what I'll be doing, I'll be updating my index. So let's see how we can do it. I'll be starting my iteration with an index of I, that is 0. So now let's see. The net gain for this is -2. So I'll be adding that to the total gain as well as to the current gain. So now you can see that at this point, since the current gain is 0, since the current gain is -2, this means this is negative. So there is a shortage of fuel which cannot allow to move to the next station. So it will just say that please update the index as I plus 1. Consider next index to be the possible solution since current index is not the solution. So this, what is answer keeping? It is just keeping track of the index which can be a possible starting point. So earlier it was initialized to 0 such that it is a good starting point, but with the feasibility check we have got to know that since it is a negative case, so we cannot treat it as a starting point. So just update the index to the next one and consider its possibility further. So in this step, first of all, we have updated the index to the next one and then we have to reset its value with 0. So now we'll be proceeding ahead with the next iteration. Here we'll be having a value of 3. So I'll be adding 3 to both. Since it is a positive value now, so no need of updating the answer as first index seems to be a good option to go ahead as the starting point. Okay. So I'll be considering the next iteration. Now I'm having a value of -2. So that's why I'll be having a net value of 1, which is again positive. I'll not be updating my answer. I'll be just proceeding ahead with the next one. Here it will be -2. Okay, I'll be adding that. Now again I have got a negative value. So what I'll be doing, I'll be telling that please update the index to the next one as this is not feasible option. So here it will be updated to 4, I plus 1, that is 4, and also it will be resetted to 0. Now again going for the last step, here I'll be having a value of 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. So now I'll be adding that and it is positive. So an answer is updated now, an end of pass is there. So the total gain comes out to be 0. This means journey is feasible. The second thing is the answer stores the starting index, that is 4. If we are talking about the time complexity for this, then since there was only one pass, so the time complexity for this will be On. And if we talk about the space complexity for this solution, then since there were only 3 variables used, so you can easily say that the space complexity is O1. Now let's move to the code. So here I have initialized 3 variables as said, current gain, total gain and answer. Within each pass, I am updating the total and current gain as gas of I minus cost I and adding that further to the respective gains. However, if my current gain is less than 0, that is negative at any point, I'll be updating my answer such that please consider the next index as the possible option for starting, and I'll be resetting my current gain to 0. So now by the end of this loop, I'll be having the answer stored. What I'll be checking finally now is that if total gain is greater than equal to 0, then certainly I will be able to complete the journey. So please return the answer, that is index from where I can start. Otherwise, if it is less than 0, then please return -1 as the final answer. So that's all. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.